Hi, I love the numbers 22 and 11, and they keep showing up in my life when I am sort of asking for guidance and I'm not quite sure if I'm on the right path. And I sort of made this arrangement with the universe to let me know when I'm on the right path. So they will show me like 1111 or 222. And I said, the more repetitions, the better, because then it's clear that it's not just some coincidence and that, they're actually communicating to me. May sound weird, may sound a little bit hoo-hoo, but I've had some really interesting experiences with this, and it just keeps. There's definitely some truth to it. It's constantly firing me on. I've had some really inexplicable experiences, like asking, what's the purpose of doing, or I was organizing this big festival, actually the first one of its kind, with my ex at some point. And we had some doubt as to whether we should really do it or not. And then at some point, I asked for guidance. To add, I was on this long drive towards the capital city, so I was going for an hour into town, and asked the angels or whoever, my guardian angels, to give me some help and guidance. So what did they do? They just started flashing double numbers at me for the entire drive. I think there were at least 20 or 30 double numbers on that one drive. And then on the way back, I was still not quite sure, that hadn't been enough. So I asked, what's the purpose of the festival? Why are we going to do this? And then it was like this voice said, look up at the next overhead sign that's going to come. And so I did. And what caught my eye was the name of a saint. And this saint happened to be Saint Michael. And the whole festival was going to take place at Saint Michael's hill, which I realized later. And it was at the time of the year where Saint Michael's time is, which is around the autumn solstice, or what's it called? The Tag- und Nachtgleiche is in German, and in English it's the autumn equinox. Yeah, the equinox, when the days and the nights are the same length. So that was just one of many examples, showing me that we're guided, and that if we ask for guidance, then we will get it. And one of the easiest ways, especially at the beginning, is with numbers, especially if we're not that good at listening to the inner little voice that speaks directly to us. But it's very quiet, and if we're not trained to be listening to it, then we might miss the messages. So yeah, that was some insight for the 22nd of the 11th, 2024. And yeah, maybe if you want to share some examples that you've had in your life about having double numbers show up, then I would be really happy to read them. And to make this video a little bit longer, I'm going to tell you something about my spiritual journey and how I got to where I am right now. So I've started a whole row of YouTube videos showing where I was 2009, when I made the first big leap, the first conscious leap into deciding to say yes to life. Before that, I had been really stuck in depression and anger towards myself and towards mankind in general, perhaps even against life. So 2009, I decided that it's time to say yes, start saying yes to life. So I started saying yes to all kinds of situations that presented themselves where I would normally say no and just stay at home or close up. And that started leading to one awesome, amazing experience after the other. And at the same time, also one step after the other towards growth, inner growth, facing my demons, facing my fears, and reprogramming old thought beliefs, and thinking that everything's gonna be against me. Started realizing that life isn't that bad after all, but it sort of depends on my inner perspective. the way that I choose to see life reflects itself in which experiences happen to me in life, which is kind of unfair sometimes, because if lots of bad things happen for a while, then you start thinking that that's sort of the norm, and it's really difficult to get back out of this negative spiral. But if you do manage it, and you manage to concentrate on the positives, and to go even further step is to figure out that even the things that seem negative at the time and may cause pain, that they actually often have a really positive outcome, something that you might only realize years later, or weeks later, or months later, or even days later. Sometimes that's nice. But yeah, so I'm starting to realize that when these bad things happen, to already have this conscious frame of mind that maybe they're not as bad as I think, and they will have some sort of positive outcome. Like when I applied for this dream job, and I thought, wow, that's, you know, absolutely perfect match for me. It would have meant traveling around a lot and leaving my home, and would mean that I wouldn't have time to do other stuff here and also connect to people. But I had just been so set on this job that I thought, you know, that's the one for me. And then I was really disappointed when they didn't take me. I wasn't even invited to an application, to a job interview. And I was really confused, like, what, why? Like, it seemed like I was the perfect match for that job, and that was the perfect match for me. But a couple months later, completely new chances arrived in my sphere of consciousness, and I realized that being in a relationship with being an employee like I used to be, was just not my path anymore. It is my path to be self-employed. It is my path to choose when I do what, and just to have this constant space where I can listen to my inner voice, follow my inner impulses, and follow just where my energy goes. And if I was an employee in some sort of setting, then I would be constantly having to adhere to what others tell me, to sort of bend to fit whatever is expected of me. And that right now is just not my path. So, before I rant on about other things, this was just, some little snippets of my life and what I'd like to share with you. And I will keep you updated on the journey that I went through the last 15 years-ish, and which awesome and amazing realizations I came to, which experiences completely changed my outlook on life, and which things have also started changing what happens to me. Yeah, so if you feel interested in my story, feel free to like this video and subscribe, and text me in the comments what you think.